A last-minute job to ensure I got something uploaded for you by the end of the month meant haphazardly tending to a manky bird bombmobile on the front, but it was sporting a few impressive deposits, and I did use some gear I've not featured before, so should still be of interest. So as I'm sure you can tell, this economical mile muncher resides under a tree, and although bird poo season is almost over, the surface of it was still sporting a fair few deposits, both fresh and crusty, so I thought you might enjoy watching me remove them along with any of the other usual dirty suspects, with a handful of unique cleaning products I haven't yet featured. So before I got to grips with the bird-bombed body, the snazzy plastic-trimmed wheels needed smartening up, so quickly trigger sprayed them over with Dodo Juice's Crudzilla citrus traffic film remover before pressure rinsing them off to get rid of as much surface dirt and brake dust as I could. Now, I'd preemptively purchased a bottle of active Bilt Hamber auto wheel for this job, not realising the car was rocking Steelies, but decided to use it on the Plazzy trims anyway, as Bilt Hamber products are generally pretty safe, so figured as long as I didn't let it dry, should be okay. So after being liberally applied, it was then left to activate, and once it had, signifying the presence of iron-based brake dust, was worked into the plastic nooks and crannies with a generic shampoo prime detailed brush, as considering there was no barrels, nuts or calipers to get to grips with here, would have been incredibly lazy of me not to. Once the trims had been adequately agitated, the chunky tyre walls were scrubbed over with a stiffer brush to finish up, and while an active wheel cleaner like this isn't the best product for the job, can work well for a one-off upfront clean like this, provided it's thoroughly rinsed off afterwards. Now, a straight up pressure rinse would have been the most obvious way to tackle the body, but I wanted to savour the cack for the sake of the video, so went with a dry application of the Crudzilla to start with instead. And to be honest, a pre-wash product like this will generally do a better job of cutting through dirt on a dry surface anyway, so got to work spraying that over the car before the late summer sun that wasn't officially forecast inevitably still arrived to make things that little bit more complicated. Once applied, I then got to work rinsing it off to safely remove as much loose and not so loose muck as possible, and woe betide anyone who walked past at this point, as they were liable to get a face full of 3-month-old Crudzilla soaked bird poo, but I didn't have time to worry about the petty concerns of innocent passers-by, so carried on regardless until the majority of the mess had been removed or at least sufficiently softened up. It was then time for a solid contact scrub, and while I know this Meguiars Wash Plus has been out for a while, thought its light abrasives would come in handy here to quite literally cut the residual crap. Now, it can be mixed up in a bucket, but is primarily intended to be directly applied to a wet surface with a microfibre wash mitt, so to get a proper feel for it both wet and dry, thought I'd do a bit of both. Now, to get the best out of this unique product, you do need to be prepared to work it over the surface every which way, which might feel a bit counterintuitive to members of the single pass patrol. And while you can't physically feel the micro abrasives, you do get a sense it's doing more than just using soap and surfactants. Now, I'd usually let suds sit on the surface to potentially dry instead of straight rinse water, but remove them panel by panel here, as this isn't your average shampoo, so didn't want to potentially be left with chalky white streaks on a hot black car. So if you're wondering where an abrasive wash product might fit into your cleaning regimen, it makes sense to use on dirty and grained cars that haven't been tended to for a while. Can be handy for stripping protection without having to use a separate product, or to lightly decontaminate prior to polishing, and it's good for scrubbing all exterior surfaces, not just paintwork. Once washed and rinsed panel by panel, then the car was given one last quick rinse to ensure it was cool, damp and free from any Wash Plus residue, before moving on to the counterintuitive stage of applying a snow foam to protect it. So this ceramic Magiseal from Autobrite Direct claims to leave a glossy layer of protection behind from a simple application and rinse. So got to work doing just that when I would have normally been thinking about drying the car to see if this was the case. There's no extended soaking required with this protective snow foam, so once it's been blanketed over, should be removed straight away. And while I found it sticks to the surface more so than a normal snow foam, assuming you thoroughly rinse it off, you'll indeed be rewarded with a super slick finish that'll look and feel as if it's had hours spent on it. Autobrite reckons it can last up to 2 months, so assuming you clean your car on a fairly regular basis, even if you only used it after every other maintenance wash, should see decent levels of ceramic enriched protection indefinitely. But either way, even on a previously neglected and largely unprepared motor like this, still serve to leave some quality looking beading behind. Now, because the car had been treated to an abrasive wash and ceramic snow foam, it was a breeze to then towel dry and felt silky smooth under hand, so embraced that fact and quickly made light work of any fresh beads before the sun evaporated them and potentially left stubborn mineral spots, with a heavy duty Dodo juice dry hard twist loop towel that can adequately dry a car off in one fell swoop without needing to be wrung out. I also dried the plastic trims off with a towel, as I felt the blow dry would have been a bit overkill, but a quick wipe over to make sure they were free from any residual dirt that the previous cleaning and rinsing may have missed seemed to suffice. I then gave the dusty shuts a quick once over with another microfibre, as while they really could have done with a dedicated wash earlier on, a damp wipe down of the manky shuts of a neglected car like this can still serve to quickly smarten them up. I then finished up by dressing the now bone dry tyres, working some thick Gyeon Q2 Tire into them with a dedicated dressing brush, as this is how I used to tend to cheap chunky items at the side of the road back in the day, so why not here for these 65 profile eco examples. Now, the finish this product leaves is generally a bit much, especially in the sun, so after being left to soak for a few minutes while the other black circles were dressed both on camera and off, they were then buffed over to knock back any excessive shine while still leaving them with a finish that lets you know they've been properly tended to. And after 6 hours of being confined in the sun with 2 cameras, was well and truly spent, so pulled the main one in close for you to see what my slapdash slog and pre-selected products had ultimately achieved. So although the wheels weren't that bad to begin with, the bleeding Bilt Hamber still made light work of any brake dust and fallout. The Crudzilla citrus traffic film remover essentially does the same job as the unsavoury bulk TFRs of old, just in a far safer and more pleasant manner. The Abrasive Wash Plus provided the extra bite required to remove most of the stubborn dirt a traditional shampoo may not have. And the ceramic Magiseal snow foam really does serve to quickly leave a light layer of ceramic based protection behind, which for this unsuspecting O'Connor box was a rare treat. From a proper detail and perspective, there was plenty of other things that could have been addressed, but still reckon the combination of these products serve to clean, lightly decontaminate and protect this neglected daily driver better than others that don't boast like abrasives or silicon dioxide. Regardless though, thanks for watching me put them to use in the stonking summer sun. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more, and if not, you know the drill, hold tight and stay tuned.